Welcome to Emotion Art.
Emotion art, where we sit down and make art with our emotions.
Emotion art.
Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression of feeling.
Emotion art.
Emotion art.
Emotion art.
Emotion because we are literally made of emotion. Art because everything we do wants to be art. Emotion art. Feels.
Emotion art.
It's all beautiful. Emotion art.
Emotion art.
A space for emotional art. Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression of feeling.
Emotion art.
An emotion art gallery.
This is emotion art.
You're welcome.
We're sitting in the middle of some of the most grounded massage energy I've ever felt.
I can see it. I can feel it too. Yeah, that's a nice one.
It's very interesting. I just realized something that's been occurring to me subconsciously
Okay.
for a few interviews now. When I'm interviewing a man or somebody that's in the masculine strongly or strongly resonates masculine energy, whatever that means to me, this is the one that I want to have here. And that was before I realized, because I had an interview with Ryan recently, Ryan Yuli, who is an incredible character, just awesome. A lot of life, a lot of energy. And he has a married energy inside him. He has the marriage of masculine and feminine inside him, but he operates in the masculine very strongly, proudly, functionally. It's beautiful. And this is the one I was drawn to have here. And when I am interviewing the feminine, this is the one.
I love them both. I think it's a beautiful balance because the amethyst really connects to your higher chakras and the smoky quartz connects to your lower chakras.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the information I was looking for. I'm going to think about that for a while.
Okay.
Because maybe it has nothing to do with masculine and feminine. Which one I'm drawn to. Maybe it has to do with something else. Like where the energy connection is strongest, or where it needs to be strengthened, or I don't know. I don't understand my attraction to rocks. I understand that they are crystal structures that resonate and have frequencies.
They do.
And I know that I am also a crystal structure that resonates and has frequencies. So that's all I know.
Yeah. And maybe you need them.
Maybe.
Usually we connect to whatever it is that we need the most.
It's tough to drink around mics.
It's delicious.
Feels grounding and colorful and
How
light.
does it feel colorful?
I think of floral as colorful. I think since flowers are colorful, when I taste something that tastes floral, it feels colorful. It's like I can see the colors. I cannot see them specifically. I just see color. I can feel the colors. I can sense I don't know. This is how I see. I don't know. It's
So,
there.
If you were to tune in, what colors would you see?
Pink.
Pink.
Hold on.
The very first one. It might
There's
be a
like-
group.
There's like a dusty pinkish color. There's green. There's like just like faint, like so light, so gentle green.
I see lavender.
As soon as you said it, okay, but that's the dusty pink. I mean, it's like when you said lavender, it took me back to the pink, and I was just like, oh yeah, there is lavender in it,
Yeah.
like a kind of a purplishness.
Yeah. Did you mention yellow? I think you did. right?
I mentioned a very light green, but it feels like there's a lot of yellow in it.
What was the other one you mentioned?
Well, pink and green. And then I think you said lavender.
Yeah, pink.
So lavender and like a yellow green. But it's like a light lavender.
And the energy swirls.
Like the color has movement.
Yeah. And it speaks. The plants speak. They communicate with us too. It's medicine. They are medicine.
But you're talking about resonance.
Yeah.
Frequencies, vibrations.
Yeah.
It's so complex and so simple at the same time. It's very difficult for a Western mind to grasp.
Isn't it?
It is.
Maybe we don't need to grasp it with our mind. Maybe we just need to allow ourselves to feel
Okay.
and connect to the feeling of it all.
I like that answer. As answers go, that's a good one. I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you from everybody else sitting in this room with us. Who are you?
Who am I? I am consciousness expressed in a human. I am soul. I am energy. I am Zolyah. It just depends on where I am connected with at the same time. I am connected with each and every aspect of consciousness, of soul, of Zolyah. I am a mother, a wife, a daughter. I am who I am. I am that I am. I am everything and I am nothing.
Zolyah.
Zolyah.
Zolyah. Okay. Zolyah. That was fantastic. Fantastic answer of who you are. It's rare for me to not have to ask 3 times. Who? Because always people answer first with, what are you called? Then what do you do? Then maybe who are you? So now I'm curious. What do you do? What is it that you do in this world? As someone who is a person of being, what is it that you do?
Observing. Observing and reporting. I observe and I report. On different levels, I play in this world.
Okay.
I also chose to work with business owners, founders, and with people who are exiting the workforce to have their own businesses. I can choose to be whoever I choose to be here in this world. And at the same time, my soul came here to have specific experiences. And life unfolds based on the frequencies that my soul chose to take on. And that is also part of who I am.
Have you always known that you could choose who you are in any moment?
No.
Before you knew it, could you still choose?
Yes. I was not aware of it necessarily, consciously, although there were also some parts that were aware of it. So, yes and no. There was always this whisper that I can choose a different way.
Different than
the way I was taking.
Okay. So you didn't use the word witness, but what I heard is that you're a witness. You're here as a witness. You're here, you observe and you report, which is a little scary, a little terrifying and creepy. I'm wondering, first of all, who you're reporting to. No, because what I think you're going to say is you report to who you observe. Or you report to, it's just simply you're reporting to yourself. It's curiosity. But I guess I am curious then.
So there are different games going on, so to say, that we are not always consciously aware of, but we are multidimensional beings, right? I had a quantum hypnosis session before, and that's what really woke me up to those different parts of myself that I was not aware of. And when we asked my higher self what it is that I am here to do, what came through is that ultimately I observe and I report, and I can choose whoever it is I want to be here in this reality. So whom do I report to? What I was shown is that I report to other galactic beings that observe us, that are learning from us. They look at humanity. Sometimes they walk within humanity. They learn, they report, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who does it.
Are you one of these intergalactic beings then?
Many of us are.
Okay.
Most people have these type of lives without remembering that they have these lives.
So I feel like what you're saying is more of a sense of a brotherhood of people who are sharing notes and sharing progress in a mutual goal rather than a human being reporting to some other entity.
Yeah. It's a collective.
Is every human part of it? Unconsciously.
Every human can be, depending on the game they choose to play.
But everybody can choose to play the game of intergalactic being.
Yeah.
That's here observing and reporting.
Their soul chooses. Their soul chooses.
Their soul chooses.
Depending on the journey they are on.
A different part of their multidimensional form than their physical form, their brain, their. So is their soul their consciousness? Is it the consciousness itself that chooses?
Consciousness chooses.
Okay. And sometimes I go down rabbit trails too far because I'm still a child.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah,
we
good.
are.
So back to the question of doing. What about in Western culture terms? What do you do?
So in the Western terms, I work with business owners, with founders, and people who are working on exiting the workforce to create their own business. I help people with the process of expansion. There are different ways that expansion can show up for people as they are growing in identity, as they are evolving to hold their businesses or the consciousness of the business. So people experience expansion in different ways. As pressure grows in their business, they might feel themselves needing to step more into visibility. Okay, let me start again.
Great. You get all the reporting and information, and so many transactions happen from way high up, way up there. It's hard to get down here to speak into the dang microphone.
Yes, it is. It's easier for me to stay up there than express in the Western language, or in a 3D language. it's so much easier just to channel. And when somebody asks me, okay, what is it? What do you do in simple 3D explanation? What is it that you do? And my brain goes like, oh, wait, what? Because ultimately it's consciousness. It's working with your consciousness.
But Zolyah, did I pronounce it right this time?
Yes.
You already answered what you do. You answered it quite well. You said a lot about what you do for business owners, where you step in, what it is how you guide them. And it's very simple, but you did answer it. So, and so, I mean, maybe in the 3 dimension, there is not always a full answer, right? To what you are feeling from other parts of you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, do you have more of an answer to that right now?
I don't have to.
Okay. But do you have it?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I can just give some examples of what it looks like. So for some people, they really feel the pressure of expansion as they are navigating the business, as they are navigating increased responsibility, as they are navigating increased visibility, right? Holding money requires a bigger capacity to hold it as your money grows, right? All of these require a different identity in a way so that people don't self-sabotage, so that people don't step into their own way as they are evolving in their business, as they are growing in their business. Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that comes to my mind is when someone wins the lottery, almost inevitably, almost invariably, their life crashes. So what I hear you saying is, like winning the lottery, if somebody figures out how to scale their business and all of a sudden have a ton of money, it's going to have the same effect unless they have become a different person than the person that could only warehouse however much money they were making before.
Exactly.
Or process, maybe. Allow the flow of. Conduct. The people that can only conduct the amount of money they were making before have to transform. They have to literally upgrade their
Identity.
transformer service,
Yes,
their identity,
exactly.
so that they can handle the flow, the heat, the whatever is involved in this completely new level of currency, electric, of power that's flowing through them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about the identity that can hold whatever is coming,
Okay.
or that has already showed up in a physical.
You want to see people living in abundance. But your goal is not to help people find abundance. Your goal is to help people find the capacity for abundance.
My goal is to help people find themselves.
Okay. If you how would you describe the ideal person, your ideal client? What is your ideal client? Do you have terms for your ideal client?
My ideal client is somebody who can lead themselves. My ideal client is someone who knows there is more for them. They feel that spark within them. They may already remember who they are on some levels. They are exploring spirituality in one way or another. They have already done some healing. They are not starting out with a journey. The biggest thing is the self-leadership.
If your ideal client is a self-leader, why do they need you?
They don't. They would get to wherever it is that they are going without needing me. They can get there faster with some of the tools I use, but they don't really need me.
So why do you do it?
It's part of the game.
It's because it's what you want to do.
It's because it's what I chose to do. Yeah.
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love what I do.
Okay, so let's imagine that you have an ideal client. whatever that means, because I mean, it could look like anything, I imagine. You're now working with them. What does that look like? What do you do? What does a session with you look like? What modality? I don't know. What is it that you do?
It just really depends on where they are on their journey. So, for example, if somebody was to struggle with visibility, we would explore where the visibility blockages, so to say, started. We would explore different lifetimes. We would explore this lifetime. We would explore their path of the soul leading to today. And depending on what comes through there in these sessions, we move forward. We reprogram the identity to match someone who can be visible, for example. Somebody who is afraid of visibility, they are going to block themselves from attracting clients or growing their business because unconsciously they are holding themselves back. They are holding themselves back without even knowing that they are holding themselves back, right? So there's lots of exploration that is happening on different levels. Sometimes people don't even know that it's visibility or the experiences with visibility that is blocking them. So we really need to dig in, right? Many people are focused on making more money, right? So let's dig in what is happening with the creation of money. Where is money holding up? Why is money not floating in? Right? So is it because you are not showing up in your business as you are meant to show up? Business is like a relationship that we create, right? And there are times that people are just not consciously aware of what is happening. They could think it's one thing, but it's something completely different, not somebody. Tongue twisters. Yeah.
So most of your clients present with money problems.
Some of them, not all of them. Sometimes it's visibility that is holding them back. The desire is to create more money, but visibility is not necessarily their desire. They might even be visible in the public's eye, but their energy, it's like they're wearing a cloak of invisibility, keeping them hidden.
So that no matter what they do, they can't get discovered because they are wearing an invisibility cloak.
Exactly.
But when they come to you, because I'm not sure about anything. I imagine that one of the first things that you talk about is what is your situation? What is it that you're dealing with? What is it that you want movement in or whatever? And that invisibility, if that's what it is still going to come out as I want to make more money. No?
It can, yeah. Some people come up and say, I'm doing everything possible to grow my social media following, and it's just not growing. I don't know why it's not growing.
Okay.
I just know it's not growing.
Okay, so then the client comes to you, you start working with them, and everything that you said you do in the process of working with a client, what I heard, it all has something to do with exploration. You explore with them. How do you do that? What does the exploration look like? You talked about hypnosis. You talked about past lives. You talked about, did you say codes? I think you said codes or frequencies.
Frequency work.
Those are three things I picked out, but does that mean, like, I've had QHHT. Do you do QHHT?
I no longer do QHHT
Okay.
in a format that I learned to do it.
But
So
you
I
use-
stepped away from it. I used to, yes, I am trained.
But you use pieces of it.
Well, not pieces of it.
Okay.
I learned different modalities.
Okay. So what modalities do you use for hypnosis?
So it's still quantum hypnosis. It falls under the umbrella of quantum hypnosis. But I also do parts therapy, right? There are different modalities. I use regressions,
Parts therapy like IFS?
like internal family systems. Yes. So not necessarily internal family
Sure.
systems. it's its own thing, but I do use parts work or parts transformation or ego state transformation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So QHHT is a brand. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah.
It does not lay claim to hypnosis.
No.
Internal Family Systems is a brand. It does not lay claim to parts work. Okay. So what? So do you operate in a brand? Do you advertise yourself as with particular modalities?
I don't.
You just do your own thing.
I do my own thing. It's about the transformation.
Okay. So you use a variety of methods. Okay.
It's whatever works best with a particular client. And I also connect with the higher self. And I allow myself to be guided as I help my clients.
Okay. Since we're still in the doing thing, I just want to see what your answer is to how do you pay your bills?
With money,
with money that comes from your playing work?
some of it comes from my playing work, and there's my husband as well.
Okay.
Right? My husband is also providing.
But you don't have like you're not paid by an employer.
No. Mm-mm.
I don't ever want to be paid by an employer again. This is like, this is why I have a lot of questions and a lot of emotions around it. Okay.
What's coming up for you?
I don't ever want to work for an employer again.
Mm-hmm. How come?
I feel like the most honest answer is there's a lot of reasons. But I feel like a language that occurs to me after some of the things that you've said is because I didn't come here to play somebody else's game. Mm-hmm. I didn't come here to play a game that someone else wrote the rules to so that I can feed myself to play the game that I want to play in my off time.
Mm.
I want to play the game I came here to play all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the games that I came here to play, one of the games that is readily available for anyone who wants to play it, is the game of money flow, the game of currency flow, whatever you want to talk about it. That's one of the games with the game options in this reality. Mm-hmm. I want to play that game. And I think that if I'm playing somebody else's money flow game, then I'm not playing my own money flow game. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm new to finding language for all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work for an employer again because I am filled up in every way by a conversation like this. Mm-hmm. And I don't know any employers who are going to pay me enough to keep the lights on for coming and being myself in a conversation like this. Mm-hmm. This is what I want to do all the time. And by the way, as you were describing what you do, it feels to me like you're a coach. You coach.
Part of it is coaching.
You use energy. You use the past and the future. You use alternate timelines, alternate realities, alternate locations, alternate stories. You use all kinds of things and stories in your coaching.
Mm-hmm. See, when people say coaching, and the way I see coaching is it relates more to the conscious mind.
Oh.
So what I do is going deeper. Yes, we do work with the conscious mind, but we go deeper into the unseen. We go deeper into the unconscious. We go into the layers of the being that people may not be consciously aware of. We work with the highest consciousness. This is not necessarily something you will find with conventional coaching.
So it's like you live in a world that isn't coaching, but it's also not coaching. So it's like you're on the spectrum between coaching and healing, or you're existing on both of the ends of the spectrum at the same time. Anyway, too complicated. I'm going too far down that rabbit hole. Okay.
We can so easily.
Yeah, I know.
It's fun going down the rabbit holes.
Okay. But then I won't get to all the other rabbit holes I want to go down.
Okay. And I also wanted to mention, there are some things coming up for me as we were talking about working for somebody else, right? There were different things getting stirred within me, going back to my own path and what that looked like, right? I loved working. I absolutely loved working. I worked in emergency medical services, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved to connect with the community. I loved to serve. It's where I really learned to serve others. And it's something that I had to stop because of medical issues. So at the same time, I already started working on my metaphysical store, on my metaphysical shop. And at the time, I had to make a choice. Do I stay in EMS, having medical issues, which was capping my capacity in how I was showing up at work, right? Or do I go into self-employment and do I keep building on that? And I had to get out. I kept on working on my business, and here I am.
So you started with a metaphysical store?
Yeah, I was selling stones, crystals, and I was making bracelets. And my journey evolved. Then I got into energy work, and then I got into hypnosis and healing work. And yeah.
You still have a metaphysical store?
So I still have my shop on Etsy.
What is it? What is it called?
It's Vibrant Essences.
Vibrant Essences. Okay.
Yeah. So to find it on Etsy, you have to search for Vibrant Essences 3. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes.
Yay.
And your socials.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you probably, anymore, socials is someone's business page. Sort of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a website?
I have a website as well. My website is intentionalalignmentcenter.com.
Okay.
This is why I offer my services.
Okay. And so it sounds like you do a lot of one-on-one.
Yes, most of my work is one-on-one. I do some group coaching as well, or not necessarily group coaching, but group work as well. So collective energy work, frequency work.
Okay.
Yeah. It just depends on whatever it is I feel called to offer at this time, because again, I am here to be of service for consciousness, for higher consciousness, playing the game.
You don't have an agenda, just to be of service.
I think that is so loaded. I think that statement is so loaded because we are still humans as well, right? So we need to be so careful as it comes to saying there is no agenda. Is there an agenda? Could there be that unconsciously there is an agenda? Even though I want to serve, is there still an agenda?
And what does agenda mean? Because if you're playing a game, you not only have an agenda, overall agenda for the game, you have many, many agendas within the game. And then if you're playing a game, if that game is within another game, you also have the overall agenda of that game, plus all of the other agendas within that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Rinse and repeat, because we live in a fractal universe, which I read a book called My Big Toe by Thomas Campbell, who's an astrophysicist, and he explains the nature of reality as seen from somebody who sees it as a computed digital, basically learning lab. And one of the last things he says in the book is, if you aren't familiar with fractals, go look it up. It will change the way you see the world. So I went and looked it up, and I can feel changes the further I get from it, the more that I'm starting to understand what it means that something is contained, that with everything that you see, there is something just smaller and just bigger than it. In every direction, in every way, physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, as within, so without, as above, so below. All of that actually means something. And when you look up the word fractal and really dig into what does that mean in relation to a computed reality, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I just go on that rant?
How did it change things for you?
It's starting to help me understand what the spirit world is, what the energy world is, why I can't see it in the way that I want to. Because what I want to do is put on a VR, put like Ready Player One. I want to step into a world where Ready Player One, I put on the haptics, I put on all the stuff, and then I enter this fantasy world that's completely different from my world. Even if it has reflections and has similarities, it's still based in Earth and stuff like that, but it's a different thing. That's that ego in me that wants the thing, that wants to experience it, or I don't know what it is, but
that's an agenda.
it sure is an agenda. And that type of an agenda is an extremely effective barrier from actually experiencing what is there, because I don't need haptics for that. I'm already experiencing it. So when I realize that it's all fractal and I am tuned, this physical body is tuned to experience one slice of the fractal. One slice of the fractal thing. Because fractal, like there's a book called Flatlander or Flatland, I think. It's a book written in like the late 1800s. Very tiny little, almost like a pamphlet, but it's a little story about a guy in a two-dimensional reality that meets people in a three-dimensional reality and meets people in a one-dimensional reality. And it's just trying to make you understand what a dimension is, what a fourth dimension, what a higher dimension is from the dimension you're in. Fractals really helps with that. Because it's like we see a slice of it, but in every direction that if we were able to tune our senses to a different type of slice or cut it a different way or go this direction or go over here, any of that type of stuff, which means nothing in the three-dimensional slice that we are experiencing. But if we can step outside of that mindset, then we're able to just understand. Why am I saying we? Well, because I am more than one person. Mm-hmm. Then we're able to understand a tiny bit better who I am, where I am, why I am. And once I know those things, even if I can't put it into words, if I know, I'm free.
You feel it.
Mm-hmm. I feel it.
Mm-hmm. You get to embody it. Lesser knowing. Or let's say that knowing comes from the embodiment. That's what comes to mind.
And I'd like to explore embodiment. What does that mean? I want to know exactly what everything means, but that's this mind. That's the thing that wants haptics. That's the thing that's going to keep me back from actually knowing.
Yeah. Embodiment. What does embodiment mean? To me, it means coming into your body, feeling, sensing, connecting with. You get to embody on a cellular level based on experience. That's how we embody.
And what I just heard is embodying is feeling what is there rather than imagining what would be there if you had the haptics on.
You can also embody through the imagination.
That feels counterintuitive. At face value.
Well, the brain does not know what is real and what is not. So you can step into the unseen, or you can step into imagination. You can create a world that you would like to live in. And slowly you can start embodying it. Does it mean you are going to wake up one day and everything around you is pink? No. There is the collective that creates as well.
But if you wake up one day and something chemically shifted in your brain so that you believe everything is pink, will you not see everything as pink? If you truly believe that what you're seeing is pink everywhere and everything, isn't that kind of the same thing as everything you see being pink? Red herring, isn't it?
I go back to soul. I go back to soul with this one. And I go back to the collective agreements with this one. You can definitely wear the pink glasses. And you can start viewing things through the pink glasses. Maybe one day you're gonna wake up, you will be guided into the store that sells those pink glasses. You put them on and you see everything through the pink glasses.
Okay.
And then you take them off, and then it's still the collective, the creation of the collective. Because on a soul level, we made an agreement to come here on this earth where not everything is pink. Could your consciousness start focusing on a pink planet where everything is pink? Yeah, but the identity is not going to be the same.
The entire experience changes then.
Yeah.
Because that's not actually what you came here for, unless you did.
But then it's not here. It's somewhere completely else.
And then everyone's going to think you're crazy and you're going to be living in a different world than them. Interesting. Oh, these are such interesting little trails, man.
But you are not going to be here, really. You're going to be somewhere completely different. And that's consciousness experiencing itself. It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
I mean, it's so simple. And it's really like embodiment is just taking off the glasses. It's just not having extra things to add to or take away from what actually is. I'm just paraphrasing the feelings that are coming up for me. And so, I mean, it's just so simple. Doesn't even really need more explanation.
It's the experience. Embodiment comes through experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting world.
It is.
Interesting experiences.
Okay. You've now mentioned codes a couple of times.
Frequencies,
Codes, but I can hear a capital letter at the beginning of it. You're talking about a specific perspective or paradigm of it. Soul frequencies. I also follow you on socials. I know you talk about soul frequencies a lot. I guess where my curiosity is starting to go now is split between wanting to start asking questions about that and wanting to get an idea of what it was like to be the little girl Zolyah. Just to have, I love having context for a person, for a human. I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay. So, Zolyah was born in December of last year. Zolyah is a new name I have taken on in December of last year.
Okay.
It is not my birth name. It is not my common name that I went by for many years. It's something that I channeled back last year. So Zolyah is new.
Why change your name?
Every name carries very specific frequencies. We can decode these frequencies. And they can either support the frequencies your soul took on before birth, or it can make things more difficult in your life. It can make relationships more difficult in your life. It can make your whole life more difficult. So taking on a new name is like a game. You get to play. You take new frequencies on, and I connected with my higher self and I asked, what should I do? And my higher self says, yes, we're going to take on a new name. And I decoded the frequencies of this name. And the frequencies were very supportive to my birth name. And I went with it.
So you're saying it occurred to you that this game you're playing, a different name might serve you better, might make it easier for you in some way to play this game that you feel like you came here to play. Am I way off base?
So it can make things easier for people, or it can make things more difficult for people. So I have different agendas. My personality has different agendas as to how it wants to play this life. I have certain goals. So I chose frequencies that are supportive of my goals, right? One of the frequencies I carry, for example, is the 5 frequency in my physical karma, as well as the 7 frequency. So with the 5 frequency, people tend to be extremely floaty, out of their body. They are very much out in a space realm. Okay, they are very cosmic. It's a very etheric frequency. It can be hard for people to come into their bodies and to ground here in the physical reality. So one of the frequencies I took on is the frequency of grounding. And that frequency is embedded in my new name. So that frequency helps me ground and come into my body.
You chose to take that frequency on. Okay, so none of this is destination. None of it is like you were born with it. Because like the reason I'm asking these questions about your name is because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you choose your name when you come. Like your parents name you, but actually you are the one that chose the name.
The birth name, yes.
Okay.
The soul chooses the birth name.
Okay, so it's not like you're changing your name because you got named wrong.
Because you got what?
Because when you were born, you were named wrong. Because it feels to me like if you want to change your name, that means you don't like that means there's something wrong with your name, old name. Okay.
No, it was serving me. It was serving me. And that's why I connect with the higher consciousness. Not everybody needs a name change. Right? But also, I see it as a tool that we can choose to use or not. For example, some people carry the frequency of power in their karma. And karma can power can show up in very distorted ways. It can show up as disempowerment, and it can show up as victimhood. It can show up as coercive control, for example. And people in your reality can show up on either spectrum. People can show up as empowered beings, or they can show up as somebody who would be considered a coercive controller, right? Both of these people carry the same frequency. And when the frequency is in a karmic placement, those are like 2 dragons coming together, just fighting and eating each other up. So you have the fight of the dragons. So in that case, a name change can be very beneficial. We can use other frequencies to assist the person who is, for example, experiencing coercive control from somebody who is stuck in a very karmic expression of their power frequency.
So I hear you talking about power as a continuum, and maybe a balance in the middle, or where the dragons have met and married, harmony, whatever, is that you are neither take or give power. But one end of the frequency, you are somebody who receives power, and one end of the other end, unbalanced, you are someone who basically uses power. Some people absorb power and some people use power. So I'm saying like the extremes would be like a emperor versus a slave or something. Like I'm just trying to put it in really gross terms. Like that's the power continuum. You're still on the power continuum. Power is still part of your frequency. And that yin and yang is going to be constantly fighting until you find your way to the middle of the seesaw, where you are no longer a slave or a ruler. You're just you.
Or you connect with your heart and you step into the power frequency through your heart.
Okay. So what do you mean by decode? How do you decode a frequency?
It's the sound frequency, and there is a numerology aspect. So Hebrew numerology.
Okay. You like you like numbers.
I love numbers. Yeah.
Oof. There's a bar to entrance for me with the way my brain works in emotional, abstract watercolor or oil color, whatever. Numbers feel a little bit inaccessible for me most of the time.
How come?
They feel numbers, astrology. It all feels like formulas and memorization and structure. And I can't remember any of the details. I can't ever remember that number or that frequency or that whatever all of it is. It doesn't feel abstract enough for me to really be able to relate to on a organic level. That's what's coming up. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So grounding in that case can help. So if I was to look at your frequencies, I would not be surprised if you carried the 5 frequency in one way or another.
5?
Yes.
What's 5?
Because 5 is the frequency of truth that I already mentioned before, right? It's in the abstract. It's in the ethers. Right? So with the 5 frequency, I carry the 5 frequency in my karmic. So I tend to be very floaty. This is why I'm holding this, because otherwise I will be out there all the time. I will not be here. I will keep on getting distracted. So my new frequency of Zolyah helps me ground into this body. I'm still in the process, right? The frequency is still working. It's something very new. But I would not be surprised if you carry the 5 frequency, because I feel the 5 frequency.
How do you figure out what frequency people carry?
So that's when I decode the names.
So you start with someone's name.
Yeah. So I need the name based on how it's written on their birth certificate.
Oh wow.
This is the name your soul chose for your life. And based on these frequencies, your life evolves. And we also choose our parents, right? And I know this can be so triggering, but we also choose our parents. We look at our parents and we say, yeah, this is what I will be born into. These are the experiences from which I will evolve.
And you know your relationship to it. You know how hard it's going to be. You know what it's going to feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have a reason to choose it, and so you do. So if I was to tell you right now, just tell you my name as it's on my birth certificate, just tell it to you verbally, is decoding like you have this intuition about that, or is it something more technical?
No, it's something more technical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not all just intuition. There's a lot of... So where do you learn all the technical part, the facts and figures, how do you learn that?
Ask your higher self to be guided to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't come from any particular tradition,
It did. It comes from the Hebrew numerology.
Okay.
It's spiritual numerology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It changed so much for me.
The more questions as you're answering, the more curious I'm getting, which is an extremely good sign for me, because I love curiosity. That's just what I live for.
Yeah.
If I have a mission here, it's to be curiosity, but I have no idea what my mission is. So I shouldn't even say that, but okay. Can I know your birth name? And what does that mean? Or where does that come? Like
From Poland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you born in Poland?
Yeah. So with that being said, I had my very specific soul frequencies. I was born in Poland. And yeah, so who is Zolyah? Zolyah is new.
What was it like being a little girl in Poland?
So the very first thing that comes to mind is playing outside without parental supervision. That's the very first thing that comes to mind.
It was free.
It was amazing. I had so much fun playing in the streets.
A good preparation for what you're doing now.
In what way? What are you thinking?
Freedom, playing. It feels like it's full circle.
That's true.
Yeah.
Play.
It's like you're finding your way back to, not back to, because there is no such thing. Everything is new. Okay. How did you end up a split again? How did you find yourself here, and or how did you get connected with what you're doing? What was your family structure like? Was it religious? Did this come from your upbringing?
No. So life in Poland was very different than it is here. Poland back then was still somewhat under the communist regime. It was very strict. It was a very strict upbringing. It was traumatic upbringing. There was domestic violence involved, and that happened everywhere. So it was part of our life. At 10 years old, my family, or my mom and my sister, we pretty much escaped to Germany, where my grandmother already lived. I moved to the US in 2000. I moved to the US okay, let me start again.
Okay. Great. I love this. Oh, this is so great. Cut. I need a little snapper thing. Take 15.
You know, when I record hypnosis recordings, I edit them in Audacity. So I make a super weird sound that gives me the, you have the recording. I don't know what you see when you are editing
wave
sound.
pattern.
Yes, you have the wave patterns. So I make this weird sound, which is going to give me a very unique pattern. And I know exactly where I need to go and cut it out.
Are you able to do that in a way that your client isn't aware of what you're doing?
Yeah, totally.
And you can still see it? Okay.
Oh no, my client doesn't see it.
But you can see it.
I see it.
Okay, what sound do you make?
Ooh, ooh.
Okay, you must have extremely interesting sessions if your client doesn't think anything of that.
See, those are hypnosis recordings. These are not the sessions I have with my clients.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like you're recording a channeling for them?
No, I create different hypnosis recordings. Yes, I do different things in my work.
Okay, so you're creating a recording so what do you use your hypnosis recordings for?
It really depends
What's the
on what
purpose
it is that we
of
are working on. Yeah. So for example, the last one I created was somatic harmony, to help people come back into their bodies and for the body to regenerate into the most optimal state. That's one I recorded for myself because I am working through health issues. And another one I created is Safe to Be Seen. And these are just hypnosis recordings.
Things for people, it's like a guided meditation almost.
Yes, it is, but I feel like we are going deeper than
but used like
guided
that.
meditation. Yeah. You listen to it.
Curiouser and curiouser.
So I do watch the wave patterns, and whenever I mess up, because English is not my first language.
Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm tracking. And I love that system. That's fantastic. I'm gonna start doing that when I start doing. I'm trying to start doing recordings more, and I'm trying to overcome my block, because when I'm sitting here with you, there's too much for me to ask. There's too much for me to say. I can never get to it all. There's never a point where I'm at a loss. And when I sit by myself in front of a camera, there's never a point where I'm not at a loss. It's just a block, I know. And I have now started to figure out how to help other people overcome the same block. So I feel like that gets me closer to overcoming it myself.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for explaining that. That makes sense.
You're welcome.
And in explaining it, I derailed what you were talking about. You were explaining.
We were talking about Poland.
Yeah, it was either your transition over here or
Yes.
it was your transition. How did you end up doing what you do? I don't remember exactly. Oof.
Yes. So it was a process of transformation. I divorced in 2013, and that started opening me up spiritually even more. I was already very much connected to the spiritual realms and to myself on spiritual level. But when I left my marriage in 2013, this is when my spiritual journey catapulted forward very quickly. And in 2015, I got attuned to Reiki. I got my Reiki 1 and 2 attunements.
Love Reiki.
And yeah, from there, everything just kept on evolving. And
Okay.
I was taken to wherever it is I am today.
So you look at all these different modalities as tuning. It's like a tune-up. It's like an attunement. You go, you learn the tuning, and then you become somebody different. It's not that you're now operating in this modality. It's that you now have a different tuning that you have access to. So interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you literally become somebody else.
Yeah.
Your identity changes. Who you are being changes.
Yeah.
And the Reiki attunements really opened me up spiritually. There was lots of purification. There's lots of healing that has taken place.
And that's the Reiki training.
The Reiki attunement, yes, the Reiki training.
You're not talking about just going and getting a Reiki session here and there. You're talking about going through, okay.
What's coming up for you?
Just that.
I can see you thinking.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm starting to understand. Like right now, right now I'm taking a coaching class. Like I'm like, okay, this is a good first step for me towards credibility, towards legitimacy in the eyes of the 3D world around me, because it turns out that matters, because it is a game that I am playing. So I'm going to get, ICC coaching certified. As I'm starting to do this coaching training, it's just a 7-day training course online, but it's in the accreditation school because I want to go to through the OSU program, because it buries my roots deeper here. It's really well-reviewed training. It's really good training. I want that training, and I want the connections, and I want, it's just for every reason I want to go through the OSU executive coaching program. But even just a 7-day, I'm all of a sudden realizing why I'm not already doing coaching. Just even the realization that what I want to be doing is coaching. And I'm using coaching because I'm in the middle of the coaching training. I want to be doing, like, when I am done with my coaching, when I get as far as I want to with the coaching certification, then I want to go through the IFS certification. And now I'm realizing that it's not because I want to do coaching. It's not because I want to do IFS. It's because I want to learn the frequencies. I want to get the language. That's what I think of it as. It's picking up new language. Because then I can start doing the things that are inside me as abstract emotions that I want to do, but it's really hard to do something if you're not real specific on exactly what that is. That's what's coming up for me, is I'm like, I think I want to go out and get a Reiki certification, because every Reiki experience I've had a few of them lately, and each one has one Reiki, one craniosacral energy, one, like a few different things, but it's all playing in the same world. So I think of them all as the same thing. But it opens blocks so drastically every single time now that I'm like, and I can't just spend all of my life going to practitioners getting blocks slowly dredged away. So what you just said pulled all that up for me, because I'm just realizing what I'm doing.
That's beautiful. And what comes up for me is that you are now stepping into your own authority.
Sure feels like it.
Yeah. And that's very powerful.
It's a good word for it. Authority, instead of, I've been using the word credibility, but it's not actually credibility I'm looking for from the world around me. It's authority in and of myself, confidence, whatever you want to call it, that the world around me is looking for from me. Huh.
Exactly.
Which is kind of what I'm learning in the coaching class.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you can understand why I'm like, oh, it sounds like you do coaching. Because as above, so below. You can reframe anything into anything.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great.
It's a great way to get started with energy work.
Reiki.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I practiced Reiki, it really helped me to connect with my guides, with the guides and the higher self of my clients. Things really started making so much more sense.
Okay.
You know, when I was growing up, I was able to connect to the unseen. And that was so scary as a little child. It was incredibly scary.
What did that look like as a little child? What was that experience like?
What was that experience like? It was not understanding why all of a sudden you have a monster in front of your face. Or you are playing with other kids in the foresty area, and all of a sudden you feel a presence with you and you don't know what it is. It can feel like you are going crazy. You don't understand. And then growing up in a country like Poland, this is not something you talk about. And even looking at our society today, it becomes more and more frequent that people are talking about it. But you are still viewed as abnormal. And I arrived at a point where I don't care what others think or say. But back then, growing up in Poland, it was difficult. And then as I got older, I started understanding what was happening and what it is that I was experiencing.
Did you try to squash it before that?
I did. I did, because it was really scary. So I did end up squashing it under age of 10, thinking back.
Like by 10, you were just done with it. You were
I was
ignoring
done
it.
with it. However, a curiosity woke me up in my teenage years. And that's when I came back to tarot. That's when I started exploring magic.
Like 16 teenage or like 19 teenage?
I was probably around 16.
Did you wear like a lot of black clothes and did you
yeah.
go that whole way? And
Oh, yeah.
okay.
I actually wore lots of black until recently. Yeah. And it was very interesting. And I also end up squashing that because things got even more so intense.
This was still in Poland too.
That was in Germany already.
Or Germany. Okay, right. I forgot about that part. Yeah. Okay.
So that was very intense. And then during my 20s.
So not well accepted in Germany either.
Well, I don't think I cared much about whether or not it was accepted in Germany or not. But the things that were happening in my life and just being able to see things in my mind's eye was really scary. And I still did not understand it back then. I didn't have a mentor or anybody I could have asked about it. I was not reading a lot about this particular topic, but as it comes to be able to see and know and perceive to the beings that are surrounding us at all times, pretty much, it's not something that, you know, that feels very comfortable all the time if you don't know what it is that you are dealing with.
So the first time was more squashing because you perceived that it wasn't acceptable by the world around you, but also there was some fear for you.
Yes.
So end up squashing. Second time, when you started to get back into it, you weren't ready to face the reality of the unseen that you had to face. And so you squashed it for that reason. And then when did it reawaken?
It reawakened when I was going to church. It reawakened today. I went to church and I watched a woman singing on stage. And as I was watching her, I saw a light appearing surrounding her. And that was the first time that I saw an aura. Later on, as I worked in downtown Corvallis, I had my metaphysical store at that time. I started having more and more experiences with dark force entities. And at that point, I decided to get some mentorship because it was very overwhelming as well. Right? So these things were happening throughout my life. I was able to perceive the unseen throughout my life in different ways, in different capacities. And at that point, I knew that it's something that I am meant to go deeper into. So I decided to get mentorship.
Get mentorship. What did that look like? Spiritual mentorship.
Yeah. So
And you just talked about church. So did you get your spiritual mentorship in church? Okay.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
I didn't think you did, but I just had to ask.
Well, actually, let me go back on that because I was having dreams. I had many, many dreams at that time that did not feel like normal dreams.
Okay.
Those were the dreams of things to come.
Didn't feel normal because they were too vivid, came up the same dream too often, or why?
They were extremely vivid and I just knew there's more to them.
Okay.
So I knew it instinctively and I went to my pastor at that time, who was amazing. John is his name. And I talked to him about those dreams. Everything was very overwhelming for me. With the 5 frequency, people with the 5 frequency tend to be very sensitive. Okay, I take that as an excuse.
The power frequency?
The power frequency is a little bit further ahead.
Wait.
So the power frequency.
5.
Yeah, so the 5 frequency is the frequency of truth. It's the very etheric frequency.
Right. You said truth. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The truth frequency made you feel how?
Sensitive.
Sensitive.
Yes.
Why does truth? So that must mean that there's a pole to truth that's sensitive and a pole to truth that's not.
We are very open. We are energetically very open. And we also move through the layers of illusion. And the pathway is to come to truth.
And in moving through that illusion, when you first start waking up to being a 5 or to being a truth seeker, which is literally the language I've used to describe myself, because it's the language of a fantasy series that is one of the things that got me started on this path, the Sword of Truth. You get tricked so many times, over and over and over. You have to figure out that you're your own worst enemy. And that whole process how could you not be sensitive? How could you, because you're constantly trying to figure out what is true, what's not true.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people with the 5 frequency are very sensitive because of that. We constantly are faced with illusion. We constantly are faced with people who may be presenting the illusion to us so that we can get to the bottom of the truth.
Oh, you're not even just talking about sensitive, like you're like getting your feelings hurt. Sensitive means you can feel deeper, more. It's just an intensity of feeling, and then there's a negative aspect to it that intensity of feeling can feel like intense pain. Oh, wow. Words are so interesting.
They are.
Okay.
I need to get some water.
Get water.
What was the phrase you wanted me to say?
You don't need a phrase. I don't have a phrase.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember where you were?
Frequency of truth.
Sensitivity.
Before
Church.
that.
You're in the middle of a story arc. No pressure.
Am I gonna have one finished story on
No.
there?
not on This Is Emotion Art. You won't. I don't know. Yes.
Okay, so let's see.
It all becomes one story when it's finished.
I'm looking forward to see that. Like when I listened to the recordings or I viewed the recordings, everything worked like it. Everything looked like it was going like perfectly smooth. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna have so much fun with editing our recording because I'm gonna be all over the place.
And so am I. But you know what? And so I've met you a few times in local circles. You're like somebody that keeps coming up in my life. See you at a mutual friend's house without even knowing it. We were at the same party, at Liz's party. I like to challenge myself to say as many people's names as I can because I'm scared to. It's scary. It's scary to expose yourself and be like, what are people? Anyway.
100%.
But Liz is just a fantastic human. We met at the Rasani Fair.
Yes.
So you say, I don't have a memory of that. Then again, actually, I do.
Yes.
I just
picked up my
didn't know
card.
you. I just
It's
didn't.
Angie. Yeah.
Okay. And then we met for coffee.
Yeah.
To talk about doing this. And of course, I knew from that conversation this would be all over the place. So it'll be a little tough to edit, but it will be so fun to record and to post and to listen to.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So is it supposed to be all over the place?
Yes.
Frequencies, sensitivity, church, waking up. I think there was an element of like you were having your second reawakening.
Yeah.
I'm putting labels on it that don't apply. I already know they don't apply, but I'm just trying to make sense of it.
Yeah. So in church was when I started reconnecting to those parts of myself that I wanted to bury. And mentorship. Okay, starting all over. Mentorship. I ended up getting mentorship. That when I worked in a medicine plaza, that's when I really started connecting with the dark force entities. It's a very intense place. Downtown Corvallis, it can get very interesting as it comes to the unseen.
Really?
Yes.
That is a little bit surprising. I would not expect that. I'd
Yeah.
expect you to say that about Portland. I'd expect you to say that about a lot of places. But then again, you didn't say it can get intense with the unseen forces, but you were just talking about dark forces. And so I was immediately curious, what do you mean by dark? I don't see Corvallis as a dark place, I guess. And so I that's why that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah. Dark force entities can show up anywhere, right? They can accumulate everywhere. A place does not have to appear or feel as a place where dark force entities would gather.
So what are dark force entities then? What do you mean by dark?
Dark force entities, I would describe them as other beings or energy forces working on a darker spectrum.
Okay, so just because this is coming up for me, I'm going to ask you, do you feel like, so I can't believe I'm going to do this. Epstein's Island is probably beautiful, gorgeous, light, just like the island of the gods, I would imagine. Is that a good example of what you're talking about? It's probably a place that is completely full of dark energy.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand, follow your thread.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. A place can appear completely magical, completely beautiful, out of this world. But the dark forces there can still be present.
Okay. I'm still curious to know what dark dark forces, like I'm coming to realize that I live in a universe that is made out of love, literally made out of, its substance is love. The vibration that holds everything together, the field that all of the vibrations are formed in is love. That's just what I'm realizing. So what the heck are dark forces? Why are there dark forces? Why does Epstein's Island exist?
Yeah. It's a little bit challenging for me to get into why do the things happen as they happen. You know, I feel so much as to what happened there on this island. And I also experienced so much growing up as well, considering where I grew up. There are so many things, evil things happening on Earth, and they're still part of the game. And that is so hard for me to even comprehend how we can choose all those things.
Okay. In Corvallis, there are a lot of dark energies.
Yes.
Okay. So that was an intense experience for you.
It was intense. And that got me to the point where I said, okay, I really want a mentor. These things keep on happening in my life. I want to understand things better. I know I am a psychic medium. So now I want to learn more. And I want to learn how to navigate these experiences. There are different things that I experienced in client sessions, which I don't want to go into because this is something confidential. You know, I don't feel comfortable sharing client experiences, but there were some things happening in these sessions that were really intense. And at the time I was already doing some clearings, but I wasn't clearing dark force entities consciously. And the first time I cleared a dark force entity, it was intense, and that was close to possession. And at this point I said, I will never be doing this in person again. I am not meant to do this in person.
Wow.
And at that point I decided to offer these clearings remotely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your mentorship?
My mentorship was with a psychic medium who had experience in clearing dark force entities.
Okay. So you realize that you're a psychic medium, which just opens up an entire can of questions. What is psychic? What is medium? Are you still a psychic medium? Is that a way that you see yourself? These are all just questions running through my mind that you don't need to answer. But mentorship in this situation means finding somebody who already has experience being somebody that you're finding that you are.
I already knew I was. I just didn't know how to navigate with the things I was experiencing as a psychic medium.
Okay. What gave you that language? How did you know to look for a psychic medium? How did you know to pick the mentor you picked? Or did it just fall into your life?
I did allow myself to be guided.
Okay.
And ultimately looking back, I came to realize that I was guided by my higher self all along, coming to this specific point. So
even when you felt like you were bumbling around in the dark.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I'm at a point where I say, guide me to where it is that I am meant to go. Guide me to whatever it is I am meant to do. And I know I will be. And I am.
Because you have too many examples of looking back and realizing you were guided the whole time.
Yeah, you were always guided. Never not supported. Always supported. Always guided.
It's like the Christian adage or meme, even, you could call, about the footprints in the sand.
Yeah.
Going through the hardest time of your life, being like, why don't you help me? Why aren't you here holding my hand or whatever? Because there's only one set of footprints in the sand. But then all of a sudden realizing that you were being carried.
All the time. All the time.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
still go to church?
No.
You
Well-
said no fast.
Actually, let me backtrack. I did not go to church the last few Sundays, but a few weeks ago, I actually did go back to church.
Okay.
I was guided back to church, and I said, okay, there's something about it. Like, why? What am I meant to do here? I am completely out of place here in this place. And I am not a church goer, but I did go back to church. And it was a completely different experience.
How? Different how?
What the pastor shared went through my heart, not through my mind.
You weren't stuck on the words.
Exactly.
Wow.
I worked a lot on my religious trauma and what I experienced in churches. I healed those parts. And now this experience was completely different.
Okay.
What is coming up for you?
I'm supposed to be asking you questions. I'm spending doing like most. No, I was like, that's not true. That's not true. Okay. What's coming up for me, Zolyah? I was also just guided back to church.
Oh,
Yeah. Tim invited me back. A friend of mine who's been on this podcast before. Chances are you know him, Tim Rist.
yeah.
Tim Rist invited me to go to Calvary Chapel in Corvallis. And that's the church I used to go to. Like when I was like early 20s, I went there a lot, had a pretty big friend group. And I just went back a few weeks ago. And it was such an interesting experience. For me, it was the worship.
Yeah.
I
Tell
was
me about it.
I was able to, it would have been like, I wish I had known the worship songs. I don't keep up to date on Christian worship music, but I love Christian worship music because it strums the chords in my heart, that meditation, and that it's all the same thing. It's prayer, it's meditation, it's seeking center, it's whatever you want to call it. And so to me, I'm just like there, and I sat in the very front. Well, because that's where Tim sits, but also that's what I do. Like if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go.
Yeah. You're fully
Unless
there.
I'm at a concert or something where what I really want to do is watch all of the interplay of energy happen. Then I'm sitting at the back.
Okay.
But so it was a very interesting experience. But what really came up for me was the books I'm reading. I just finished a book that is just the words of Jesus. Somebody took all the red letters and just compiled it into one book. That experience was so interesting because it was very confusing. Because I started out banging into all these words that had all of these bearded God of justice meanings. My past archetype for what the Bible is and what the words and the words of Jesus and all this stuff. As I just kept reading. I don't care. I am being called. I didn't even put this my finger on this, but I was being called so strongly that even though the words were tripping me up, because it was just like, whosoever you have heard that it shall be said, thou shalt not lust after, or thou shalt not commit adultery. But whosoever looketh at a woman to lust after her, he hath already committed adultery with her in his heart. There's so much of that kind of language that I was always taught means that you have to deny the flesh, deny, fight, block off, wall off, all of the containing, controlling. But then I was like, wait a minute, I'm reading this book differently than I read any other book. Every other book I read the foreword. I read the introduction. I absorb any piece of information about it because it helps me to understand the person that's writing. Because otherwise it's just words that could mean anything. depending on whether I'm from America or Poland or the moon, or whether I was raised in blue collar or white collar, or whether I went to school or whether I didn't. Every single aspect of my life changes what words mean. And so when I read a book, I don't try to remember the words. I don't try to memorize a part of it. I let the words flow through me. And every book I read, except the Bible. The Bible, I have to look at one particular word and try to understand what that means. I have to look at this phrase here and understand what that, everything has to be analyzed and categorized because I have to understand it because I want so desperately to understand the truth. And I always believed that was the truth. Now, as I'm reading through the words of Jesus, having just finished my big toe, I was able to let go. And it's like I felt it a little bit at first, a little bit at first, a little bit at first, bump, 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 release.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, I'm reading just writings. I'm reading something that was written, anyway, 50 to 100 years after the guy that said it died, number one. So it's filtered through the impressions of the people that wrote it. They're trying to give a picture of who the guy was. That's what they want to do. He got something. They saw the authority in him. He had found himself. He found that authority in himself.
Exactly.
I'm reading words that were written by people who didn't fully get it because they're not him. People that have their own perspective of him, their own, maybe whatever the relationship looked like. People who got hopelessly tangled up in their own egos, trying to do the right thing with this priceless thing that they had found, et cetera, et cetera. Jesus was not a writer. He also incessantly talks in abstract abstractions.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the guy is a mystic, people. Why am I trying to read this as if he's saying words that he expects me to take at face value? He is constantly stopping and saying, if you can hear what I'm saying, you get it, but most people can't. Because he's speaking in complete abstractions and parables and mystic language because what he's talking about, the words, no words can do anything with. So I'm just trying to walk you through a few of the realizations that came to me as this whole thing just like became flow of words just flowing through the feeling of the Spirit. What is he trying to say? He's got a sense of humor. He's always given people crap around him. Also, he is constantly asking the people around him, who am I? How do I compare to this guy? How do I compare to this guy? What do you think? How do I do with that? The guy is like, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't care. It's just a thing that I notice as I start to read the book, not the words. I don't know. That doesn't even fit either. But so all of these different things happen, just all coalesced into realizing Jesus was a real person. He even said that. The focus is on that he was God. Christians focus on Jesus was God, and he was man, and he was God, and he was man, and he was God. Maybe he was God, maybe he wasn't God. But if he was man, then he had all of the foibles of a man. You cannot be fully man. Even if you are also fully God, you cannot be fully man unless you have self-doubt, unless you fall into the shit that you don't want to fall into, unless you do the things that don't make sense, unless you are guided, unless fill in the blanks of everything that every human interacts with. Okay, great. This is a book. It's not words written in fire on stone tablets by the hand of the Most High. You know what I mean? It's not the magical text that if you read it in the right way, then the magic lifts off the paper and flows into you. And if you don't say the spell with just the right inflection, there's no magic there. Like, bullshit. That's not what's going on. None of that even makes sense. That's not real. And then the book I'm called to afterwards is the occult Christian writings, which is hilarious because my entire understanding of the word occult just means hidden. The Bible is one of the most occult books that there is. It just means that the meaning of the words is not intended to be the words themselves. The words are meant to be symbols about something that words cannot describe. That's what occult means, people. The Bible's more occult, harder for me to understand than any occult book that I've read.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes it very interesting, which is why it just is so deeply occult. Occult doesn't mean 666 and Satan. But that's my connotation for it because that's how I was raised. And that has colored everything. So now I'm just, so it's like the Gospel of Thomas, the books in the Bible that are not included in the traditional Bible today. Since I read My Big Toe, that cracked open my understanding of fractal. Just to pull it down to one thing. Then I read the words of Jesus only, trying to find a different perspective, trying to see the spirit behind it, really understand, not get lost in the words, just find the spirit.
And what if we are not meant to understand? What if we are meant to feel through the heart?
I think that's true. I think that my brain, my mental processes are here to help me find food, keep me safe from bears, help me figure out how to play this game. That's it. I think that I emotion through life. I feel through life. And I turned my brain off and I turned my feelings on instead, which is what I want to be doing. So why the fuck would I keep myself stuck in my brain if where I want to be is in my feelings? And then all of a sudden, the words of Jesus are accessible. And they don't mean what I thought they meant.
Exactly.
In fact, they don't really mean anything. He's doing the same thing that every other, what do you want to call it? Every other, what? Every other person who got it in a way that the rest of the world around them generally didn't, I guess, they start talking just to try to help people get their bearings, not to try to say thou shalt and thou shalt not. But that's the only language people know. So they have to start with whatever language people know. And then we just see what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like I had someplace I was going with all that, but maybe I was just answering your question.
Yep. Need to get water. Every time you cough, I'm going to get some water.
You should. Every time I cough, I can't wait to be not constrained, to experience a reality where I don't have to get sick all the time.
That's another marker for the 5 frequency.
That's something I'm really curious about. What are the frequencies? What are these frequencies that you work with? 1,
2, 22.
Okay. So there's a lot of frequencies.
There's a lot that goes into
and they
it,
each mean their own thing, and combinations of them mean something else again. Okay. 22? Hebrew. Because there's 22 letters.
Yep.
I can read Hebrew, so maybe someday I'm going to get pulled into this numerology world.
Well, there's a reason why paths cross. There is a reason why we talk about the things we talk about. You never know. I feel there is so much wisdom in the Bible that we can pick up. But again, you have to read it through the heart.
Yep.
You have to let the mind go.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it was about 2 years ago that I was coming home from somewhere and a Bible verse came through. And the Bible verse that came through, don't quote me, I don't remember Bible verses, although I remember snippets of them. Love thy brother as you love yourself, or something in that extent. And I sat in my driveway for a while, just thinking about that, with a big question mark. How do we love ourselves? How are we supposed to love our neighbor? As we love ourselves, when so many people don't even know what self-love even means. Love thy neighbor as yourself.
The question they asked when Jesus said that was, who is my neighbor? The question you're asking is, how do I love myself? Go on. That's just what came up for me. It's so interesting.
Okay. Give me the 1 + 1 because I didn't get that. So love thy neighbor as yourself.
Love thy neighbor as thyself. I mean, it's in the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
But when Jesus said it, all the people around him, the question that was asked in response is, who is my neighbor? How do I decide who I need to love and who I don't need to love? Who is my neighbor? It's like that. It's the question of the person who has not woken up to realize who they are, where they are, why they are.
Exactly.
Your question was, okay, love my neighbor as myself. So how do I love myself?
How do people love themselves?
How do people love themselves?
What is self-love? How do people love themselves? Would the world be what it is today if people truly knew how to love themselves, therefore loving their neighbor? Our neighbor is us. Our neighbor, in truth, is not separate from us. It's a reflection of us.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we hating our neighbor? Why are we, as the collective, hating our neighbor? And
because every neighbor is also a self.
I look at the collective state and where we are at. Would we be where we are if we knew how to love ourselves? Would we treat others the way we treat them, generally speaking, if we knew how to love ourselves? We wouldn't.
And I don't know that there's anybody on the face of the planet that would not be able to answer absolutely not immediately. If the world knew how to love itself, we would not live in the same world.
Exactly. And it brings me back to the importance of becoming aware of how we are loving ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Which, for anyone that has the type of upbringing that I had, you first have to realize that loving yourself is not narcissism.
Exactly.
I thought it was just a different way to say the same thing. Because the Bible says, I was taught, the way I interpreted what I was taught was that I had to hate myself. I literally, as a kid, had people and father figures in my life tell me that I'm garbage. Everything I do is garbage. And they're saying it out of love. Like, they're not trying to hurt me. They actually believe that they're teaching me things that I need to learn. Everything I do is ready for the garbage in comparison to how perfect and holy God is. That's the message that one person gave me.
Yeah.
Named Leonard. When I was a little kid in a traveling cult that came out of the 70s Jesus movement. That was the message this little kid got.
Mm-hmm.
How can I love myself if I think I'm supposed to, if I think I'm meant to, if I think the only way that I can be close to God is to hate myself?
Exactly. But it's not what God is. It's not who God is.
No. But God did allow me to go through thinking that way.
Or was it your soul choosing for the purpose of the game?
Is there a context where we can understand that both of those descriptions describe the same thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you can understand that, then you're going to be able to read the Bible. because it's abstract and confusing. You got to understand it with your heart.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We're at 1 hour and 58 minutes.
Okay.
So I am trying to keep these things to not over 2 hours, just because it's just too much. I've done more than 6 hours before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah. I had sessions that lasted like 7-8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you learn eventually that you just can't do that regularly. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, no.
But I do have a couple more questions before we end.
This will be so interesting to watch for me.
For me too. And for a lot of other people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We've covered a lot of different things. Turned over a lot of different rocks, which is the opposite of covering. So I like to use different words. What comes up for you? Like, what else is there for you in all of this stuff that you feel like, what question should I be asking?
So what was coming up for me when you were talking about self-love and narcissism? What comes up for me is the spectrum of the frequency. Because all of this shows up on a spectrum of frequency as well, right? You have narcissism, and then, which I'm going to put a 9 frequency to it. Many people who have narcissistic tendencies have the 9 frequency. I already mentioned coercive control, for example, right? Many people who are coercive controllers are narcissistic. They have very strong narcissistic traits. So I can place them on a lower spectrum of the frequency of power. And then you have somebody who is empowered, right? On a higher expression of the frequency. So you need, when you are on a lower expression of the power frequency and you are dealing with somebody who is narcissistic and you are both stuck in a lower expression, you need to become a little bit more narcissistic to step into self-love. You need to release the programs of I cannot love myself or I am selfish of loving myself and step into the stronger expression. So it's okay to become a little bit more self. Right? Many people say that empaths, for example, or codependents are also narcissistic. Right?
Yes.
How exactly does that show up? Right? But in truth, when we come back to ourselves and become a little bit more about ourselves, this is when we step into empowerment. This is when we create boundaries and we can say no more. For example. Am I making sense with that?
It's just yeah.
So some people would say, this is narcissistic, but is it? Is it truly narcissistic? Loving yourself, knowing what true love is, and being able to radiate it into the world.
There's a polarity aspect to every frequency.
Every frequency has a polarity aspect here on Earth.
And what polarity means is it has a negative side for power to flow into and a positive side for power to flow out of. Except I'm not even sure that that's how poles work. I think it may be opposite, but seem that way. But beside the point, like the negative, I don't know. Where was I just reading this? The negative being the feminine, the positive being the masculine, like as above, so below, just like putting all these things together. And I just had this, like there was some, what book was I reading? But basically that the negative draws power from the positive, but it's the negative that creates with that power. I don't know. Boy, I don't even remember what book this is from. So I'm just saying, but poles are a real thing. Whether they work one way or they work another way, they are real. And every individual thing always has two poles.
Yeah.
There's always a positive and a negative, every frequency. So narcissism is a label that, depending on how you look at it, it could be or could not be applied because there's poles. Because it's just a label. It's just the way that our logical brains are trying to make sense of something that is not logical. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just helping me find a little bit better shape to the language you're using to describe what actually exists. Because I want to see it. And the more I understand it, the better I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
If you've been raised your entire life never seeing a right angle or a square, never seeing a square, the first time you ever see a square in your life, you cannot see it. Your eyes will not pick up the shape of a square if all you've ever seen are circular, round, or whatever. Again, something I just read somewhere. I want to understand the shapes of things as much as I can because I want to see what's there. All of it. Hopefully I didn't derail you saying what else is coming up for you by telling you what came up for me when you told me that. But my other questions are...
I am so spaced out.
Good.
I'm completely spaced out right now.
It's because it's been 2 hours and it's about time to wrap up. What I want to know is, plug yourself again. Basically, I just want to know like where people can get a hold of you. Do you want people to contact you?
Of course.
Great.
Yes, I am here to serve.
And how would you like people to reach out to you?
People can find me on Facebook as Zolyah Navarrete.
Okay.
People can also find me on Instagram as Inner Coherence Specialist. I just recently changed the handles as well. Through my website. My website is probably the easiest one for people to contact me.
Okay.
And it's Intentional Alignment Center.
Okay. And you definitely are taking new clients.
I am taking new clients.
Lovely. I'm also spacing out now. This is what happens when empaths talk to each other. Zolyah, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you came and sat in this space and answered my questions and asked me your questions. I'm just really appreciative. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time we got to spend together.
Yeah. I look forward to spending plenty more time with you as the moments unfold.
Yes.
I can't imagine how it's going to be, but it's going to be cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
All the time.
Okay.
Thank you.